Is there anything more terrifying than being buried alive? I mean, like, seriously, can you imagine it? Trapped underground, barely able to breathe. I'm freaking myself out! You want to avoid that unpleasant fate? Here's how. This is Epic How To Survive Being Buried Alive. There are a couple of different ways that you could be buried alive. The most common way is to be buried in an avalanche. Escaping an avalanche is no easy feat. 1/3 of people caught in an avalanche die just from the impact of the snow alone. And given the sheer amount of snow and freezing temperatures, if you don't escape within 15 minutes, you're a goner. According to Ethan Green, director of the Colorado Avalanche Information Center, the huge amounts of snow in the avalanche feels like you're wading through concrete, and it's very easy to get injured to the point where you pass out. But escaping an avalanche is still possible. To maximize your odds, you'll want to have an avalanche transceiver. This little device can transmit a signal to let your friends know exactly where you're buried. Without one, a search party could waste precious time just trying to find your location. Now, when you feel the avalanche start to hit, try running uphill and off to the side to get away from the source of the avalanche. Drop or get rid of all of your equipment, including ski poles, snowboards, and snowmobiles. You're gonna need to be as light and mobile as possible to have any hope of surviving. Then, try to grab onto a tree. This will help you avoid being flung all over the place, as avalanches can travel as fast as 90 miles per hour. Once the snow starts piling on top of you, you want to try to swim to the top so you're buried as close to the surface as possible. Turn to your back and do the backstroke and start swimming uphill. If you stay on your front, you have a higher chance of drifting toward the tip of the avalanche, which is the most dangerous part. Now, once you've been buried by an avalanche, immediately put one arm over your face to create an air pocket. This gives you some room to breathe, literally. Next, reach your other arm up and dig like crazy. Use your legs too. You're gonna try to get to the surface as quickly as possible, and time is not on your side. Unfortunately, in an avalanche, you might have turned upside down and have no idea which way the surface is. If you have enough room, you can try spitting to see which way is up. Now, as you're digging, you're gonna wanna make as much noise as possible. Hopefully, you've treated other people with grace and kindness your whole life, and someone up there is looking for you to try to help you to escape. Another even more frightening way to be buried alive is to be mistaken for dead. Now, I know what some of you are thinking. Oh, that's never happened. What's there to worry about? Well, you're wrong, hypothetical naysayer. People have been mistaken for dead and buried alive many times throughout history. A study done in 1905 showed that there were 149 reported cases of humans buried alive, 10 cases of live dissection, and 2 people who woke up while they were being embalmed. Holy shit! And this isn't something that only happened hundreds of years ago. In 2013, a Chinese woman climbed out of her coffin a whole 6 days after she died. In 2014, 78-year-old Mississippi native Walter William was about to be embalmed when medical examiners found him kicking inside his body bag. Everything's a nightmare! In 2012, 2-year-old Brazilian toddler Kelvin Santos was pronounced dead from pneumonia, only to wake up and ask for a glass of water at his own funeral. Oh my God! He got the water and then he laid down and he died again, but still, that's crazy. What? Weirder still, science has no explanation of how this was even possible. Now that you're good and paranoid about being mistaken for dead and buried alive, you're gonna wanna make sure that you have a safety coffin. Essentially, this is a coffin that will allow you to survive and escape being buried alive. The first safety coffin was built in 1790 by Duke Ferdinand of Brunswick. His safety coffin had a window and tubes sticking out to let air in, should he find himself buried alive. It also included 2 keys, one to get out of the coffin and one to unlock his tomb. Other safety coffins throughout history were made entirely out of glass, so everyone could see if the person was being buried alive. Some also had a bell that the deceased could ring if it turns out they hadn't shuffled from this mortal coil. In 1897, Russian Count Michel de Karnitsky rigged his safety coffin with a crude motion detector that would open up air tubes in case he woke up and started moving around. People think about this! With your own safety coffin, you can rest assured you won't be buried alive. Heck, put in a mini fridge and Wi-Fi, you can chill there for weeks. But in the worst case scenario that you don't have a safety coffin, you're gonna have to think quickly to get out. But the good news here is that you have more time than you think. The volume of the average person is 66 liters, and the average coffin holds 886 liters, meaning there is around 820 liters of air inside the coffin with you. The average adult uses 23 liters of air an hour, giving you around 30 hours to escape before you suffocate. Sounds awesome! The first step to getting out is not to panic. When you panic, you'll breathe quicker and use more of your precious oxygen, drastically reducing the amount of time that you have. If you have your phone on you because you're the type of person that buried yourself with your phone, try and see if you can call or text anyone. It sounds crazy, but there's a chance you might get some bars and be able to send for help. Now, to break out, before you start punching, kicking your way through, grab the bottom of your shirt and pull it over your head, like what they do in hockey fights. This will create a mask to prevent you from breathing in dirt. Hopefully, you're buried in a really cheap coffin. Thanks, family. Use your legs to kick the middle of the coffin, as that's where it's structurally the weakest. If you got something strong or metallic on you, like a belt buckle or a heel, use that to help weaken the coffin. The goal here is to create a tiny crack, allowing some soil to seep into the coffin. This will help relieve some of the pressure the ground is putting on the coffin, making it easier to break through. Once you've made a hole, push all the dirt that's coming in toward the edge of the coffin and continue to make the crack as wide as possible. Once it's big enough, position your head near the breach and try to stand up, digging dirt away from you as you go. Assuming you were only buried 6 feet underground, you should be relatively close to the surface. From there, you should be able to make your way out. Congratulations on no longer being buried alive! Pat yourself on the back because not many people have risen to the challenge. Pretty terrible pun, I know. Enjoy therapy. This has been Epic How To.
Let us know what topic you guys think we should break down next in the comments below, and don't forget to subscribe.